Welcome to Keeping It Real with Power Platform, where we look how real people use Power Platform around the world to create awesome software solutions. And today we have Ramiro Melgoza joining us from Scottsdale, Arizona. Ramiro is a Power Platform solution architect with Hitachi Solutions. Welcome, Ramiro, and thanks for being here today.
Hey, thanks a lot, Leon. I'm very happy to be here.
We are very happy to have you here with us as well. So tell me about your journey with Power Platform, Ramiro.
So my journey with the Power Platform actually got started over 10 years ago when I studied programming languages like JavaScript and Python. But one of the hard things about that was it wasn't easy for me to quickly visualize the things that I was building. It wasn't until I came across something called SharePoint and got thrown the keys to build solutions on it that I realized that building proper solutions was something that I enjoy. That led me to become a SharePoint admin again over 10 years ago. When the Power App Platform started coming out, I started building solutions in Power Automate and Power Apps and quickly realized that this platform had so much potential, and it became kind of the next logical step for me to step into.
As a Power Platform architect and expert, helping customers around the world, can you share an example of a solution you built that had a large impact?
Yeah, so typically a lot of the solutions that I build touch various different departments within an organization, everything from HR to sales to engineering. I think one of the most impactful solutions that I've built over the time with the platform is a checklist solution that enables organizations to save a lot of time building things that they would otherwise do manually or even with pen and paper. That kind of efficiency gain takes something that would have normally taken an organization days or weeks to build and enables them to do it in just a couple of hours.
That's wonderful. That's an order of magnitude of more improvement. So that's really great to hear. Ramiro, I know that you've been creating solutions that push the boundaries of the Power Platform for a long time. In fact, we co-presented a session in Power Platform Community Conference in 2022, showcasing some of that great work. Is there anything new that you can share with us that you're working on?
Yeah, I definitely do. And it's funny that you mentioned that session that we had at Power Platform Conference so many years back. If you remember, Leon, we had actually done a session on custom pages. It was the first time that we were really showcasing that. And the one thing that I wanted to talk about today was generative pages, which is kind of the next evolution of that feature of the platform. So one of the things that I personally love about generative pages is the ability to very quickly spin up an app or a page that would have normally, again, taken you quite a few hours in just a matter of seconds using only natural language prompts. And so with that in mind, what I wanted to show you today was a generative page that I built that on the surface seems relatively simple, but when you look underneath at some of the functionality that generative pages enables. So on my screen, we're currently looking at the Generative Page Studio, where I've been working with the Generative Pages agent, building an application for myself. And as you can see, it's a very simple tic-tac-toe agent. One of the things that I like about generative pages is the ability to not just go into code, but edit the code itself. And this kind of functionality really showcases the ability to make changes in a way that was much more difficult for us to do in something like a Canvas app or a custom page. This application in particular makes use of something called Peer.js in order to enable peer-to-peer connections, not having to have any middleman in between. So what seems like a very simple application actually hides underneath some pretty powerful functionality. Now, to better demonstrate that, let me actually go to the live version of this app. So here I have two distinct instances of the same application. If I click on the Online tab, I have the ability to generate a new session for this application. So I'll click Copy, bring that over to my other app, and select Join Game. And I'll just paste in the session ID that I have. So what's nice about this is now we are directly connected to one another. We're not going through an intermediate flow or any other service. So if I make an action on the left-hand side, you see it reflected almost instantly on the right-hand side. Now, again, this type of functionality could potentially be done in a Canvas app, but the level of effort required to do such a thing would be much more involved than the simple lines of text that I had to throw into the code editor in the Generative Page Studio. You could very easily imagine a scenario where you can enable co-authoring, for example, in an application, synchronize changes across different browser sessions and across different users. And I think that's one of the things that makes not just this functionality really powerful, but generative pages in general really powerful. It enables you to do those kinds of things that previously would have taken a lot more time. And better still, the agent model understands what you're doing. So not only does it see that you made a change, but it could iterate on it and make changes on your behalf even afterwards.
This is super cool. So basically, not only you generated the page super fast, now they are interacting between one another. And I could see how you could use this for document processing or like any sort of application where more than one user need to complete a task over the same artifact, right?
Exactly. Oftentimes we land in situations where you have one user that essentially locks a record down and disables other users from working on it. And that really gets in the way of productivity and efficiency sometimes. So a solution like this really opens up the possibilities for organizations building these apps.
Thanks, Ramiro, for showing this. This is super cool and certainly raises the bar and moves the state of the art of what can be done with generative pages. I know that you have been using agents for a while and you develop a lot of learnings and even a methodology on how to work with agents. So it would be awesome if you could share those learnings and ideas with everyone watching this video.
Yeah, definitely. The pace of change with AI has been rapidly accelerating, and honestly, sometimes it's hard to keep up. One of the things that I've found to be quite effective is often to just start from the value proposition of the agents that we're building before we even step into the technical aspects of how to build it. Another thing is to potentially think outside of the box as far as what we're using the agents to do in the first place for us. It doesn't always have to be a chat interface. Sometimes you could enhance or improve an existing Canvas app by bringing in your agent to your application itself, thinking of ways to do that, or even potentially using the same agent to develop query parameters for you to allow you to make the call yourself to the data source instead of relying on something like knowledge sources and things like that. It's those kinds of out-of-the-box thinkings that I feel will pay dividends as organizations move forward building solutions on the platform.
That is wonderful. So basically starting from the value prop, and there is no one size fits all, but rather try to understand how to use these technologies for the problem that you have in front of you in the most effective way. How can people learn more about the work that you do?
I think the easiest way for people to see the stuff that I'm up to is to follow me on X at 0365. And that's where I'll generally post some of the crazy things that I've been building.
That is wonderful. So thank you very much, Ramiro, for being with us today. And thank you for watching. See you in the next episode of Keeping It Real with Power Platform. Bye for now.